welcome back to the Tea and a Buddy podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And this week's episode, well, the first of this week's episodes, is about Ted Lasso.
Yes.
The Apple TV Plus streaming extravaganza show.
That apparently just won loads of Emmys.
Yeah, it won 7.
On Sunday.
Yeah, it kind of cleared the board as far as Emmys go. It and The Crown.
Yeah, I totally...
Streaming services apparently are taking over from the networks.
I totally did not even realize the Emmys was coming on.
Yeah, it was a socially kind of distanced Emmys. We didn't watch it, but we saw highlights later on.
Yeah, I don't know why they were calling it socially distanced, because there were still loads of tables in there and everybody was sitting around the tables.
They made a comment about Seth Rogen making a joke about it, and they were like, was he joking or was he getting on to them for it?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he was getting on, but he was probably just like, yeah, this is not socially distanced. Like,
socially distanced because
I guess
when they did the after for the winners,
it
was someone was like, they were on Zoom or something, and they were in like the backstage, and they were like, oh, so and so from Variety wants to speak to you, and then they'll ask a question. It sounded like they were on Zoom.
Yeah, it sounded like they were calling in.
And they were just like, yeah, and you couldn't see them, but you could see who'd won, and they were just like, oh yes, and they answered the question, whatever, we watched some of the after party of it, so yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was so funny that like everything that we watched are the things that won.
Everything that we watched are the things that won, and we didn't even vote, so, clearly we're influencers here. And all these people, everything we watch, and we know what's good.
Yeah.
And apparently that's what's good. Ted Lasso and The Crown.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso won 7, I think. Outstanding comedy series. Best lead actor in a comedy series.
Basically any category that was anything to do with comedy, they won.
They won in it, yeah.
Yeah. I wondered how many of you guys watched the Emmys or traditionally watched the Emmys, or how many of you watched it this past Sunday. I mean, I really am curious.
Or a Golden Globe watchers.
With the audience of these award shows. Like, is it still as big as it was? I don't think so.
I don't think so, yeah. I mean, it wasn't, because, back in the day of, like, the Oscars and the Emmys and stuff, people would watch.
Yeah, it was quite glamorous. Ooh, Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood and,
Yeah, but I think...
Hollywood.
I think people have come to realize that these people are just people.
These people are just people. Thanks to social media and all that, it's...
Them being more accessible.
Them being more accessible on Twitter and Instagram. People think, oh, they're my friends.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know.
They're not just people on the TV that they look up to, like, oh, that Joan Collins looks marvelous. And,
Maybe, but I think the accessibility and the ability of them to get their opinion out or just stick their foot in their mouth, quite easily makes them more human.
It's been career-ending for a lot of these TV stars and film stars too, I guess. I mean, one such case is Roseanne.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean,
she, yeah. There's loads and loads, yeah.
There's loads and loads, but that's one of the case, yeah.
The smart ones are the ones who don't get any of these social media accounts.
They don't go on Twitter, they don't tweet their opinion, they don't get into Twitter wars with...
I say that, but you know what? I think a lot of film and television and just any kind of projects really make these people get social media accounts because it's free publicity, isn't it?
It's a bit of free publicity for the people, but... Again, you've got to be kind of, like, savvy about it. You can't get on there and see someone trolling you saying, oh, you were crap in The Crown or Ted Lasso and I hate you and, and then you just angrily responding like, oh, look at this guy, or trying to set your followers on.
It's like you should go on, you tweet about whatever project it is you're working at, do not look at anything, and then get off, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Or
that's what I would do if I was famous.
Or just hire somebody to do it.
Yeah, you could tweet every now and then, but it's kind of like, once you've gotten into a position of, like, fame and fortune or whatever, and you're a public figure, you've got to limit what you say. You've got, people go, well, that doesn't mean you become a robot and everything, and it's just like, well, you have a voice, you can use it as you please.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of expectation for people who have a platform to voice their opinion on
a variety of subjects.
Yeah.
Not just political, but yeah.
And the thing is why? It's not they don't really have a responsibility to anyone but themselves,
it's like Cher does it,
Yeah.
And, she does it crazily. And people are all like, oh, Cher, oh, yes, I'll believe it when I see it.
I used to like Cher.
like Cher, but she's ruined my public possession. And people are like, they're more concerned with, like, maintaining their image than they are with losing fans, or whatever.
Yeah. Which
is, and that's people's prerogative, I guess, Anyway, back to Ted Lasso. Back to
we'll step down off our soapbox.
Yeah, because here. I mean, if we got famous and stuff, I think we'd very much tweet just as we have been doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Modify our...
I mean, I'm quite politically opinionated, but
I mean, I am too, but I keep it very, very off,
Yeah.
I mean,
because because the thing is,
I think people know me, know what I'm about.
Well, the thing is our social media, our podcast is not about that. You know what I mean?
Our podcast's about what Ted Lasso's about. Positive. Keeping upbeat.
We try to. Well, we try
sometimes.
We try to tweet and we try to. Share pictures and stories and whatever that have to do at least vaguely with the idea of our podcast. It's vaguely.
We've branched out a bit.
Yeah. I mean, what is our podcast really?
What is it? What is it about? Yeah, if someone says, so what's your podcast about? Oh, it's about the differences between British and American. But it can also be about shows that we like, and it's just like we're just talking about ourselves.
But you're British and I'm American, so we have difference of opinion sometimes.
Yeah, we do. It's about marriage. That's what it's about. Difference of opinion.
It's about culture. We're looking at all aspects of culture, including television, film, music, whatever, from a British and American perspective.
An English-speaking perspective. Anyway, back to
Ted
one of
Lasso.
Our favourite shows, and I've been hearing a lot about it on Twitter, and people that we follow are saying, "Oh, Ted Lasso! Oh, it's great! Oh, Ted Lasso's really good." And when you look at the premise of Ted Lasso, it's kind of a crazy one because he's an American college football coach.
Yeah.
From Kansas.
Yeah, I think so.
And he led the Wichita State Shockers. I'm not even sure if they're a real team. I don't think they are because
No.
I mean the AFC Richmond isn't a real team either. To a Division II National Collegiate Athletic Association championship.
Yeah.
It was college football
in his first year of coaching.
He took them over and he led them to win it, I guess. And, that was like a crazy thing. And so he gets hired to coach an English soccer team in the Premier League. So he goes from not a different sport entirely, but
in college.
A college to professional, because these people are getting paid. And it's good because it's kind of like he brings that folksiness. He's this folksy, down-home Southern boy.
I had heard about it before you said you wanted to watch it. I had heard about it. I thought it was a bit
it's going to be like one
has
joke.
Has that ever happened?
Well,
would anybody?
Speaking of has that ever happened?
Would any team ever hire a coach that has absolutely no experience coaching soccer? You know?
Speaking of has that ever happened, the series has drawn comparisons to the takeover of Chester City FC, which is an English football club, by American Gridiron, which is what is American football's called.
Oh, yeah.
coach Terry Smith in 1999, who subsequently installed himself as first team manager. So he didn't, because there's a lot of English Premier League sides and clubs in England that have been taken over by American businessmen and magnates.
Yeah.
I mean, the owners of the Boston Red Sox own Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Liverpool. Manchester United is owned by this billionaire Glazier, Malcolm Glazier. He's an American billionaire. I don't know what he made his money in, but I guess... But, a lot of these, sports conglomerates are taking over. All these teams around the world are going to have the New York Yankees. They're going to have Real Madrid in Spain. They're going to have, soccer and baseball and,
all these, Jeff
and it's
Bezos
just,
types.
just big sports. Yes, make all the money,
Yeah.
And it's just kind of for him to take it over, it was fine because, that's the money side of things. But to him to install himself as first team manager.
Yeah.
And it's do you know anything about football? Do you, soccer?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do this?
Yeah.
And it's a different game. It's kind of the same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Ted Lasso was hired by the...
first, how did they do? How did that team do? Do we know?
I think he managed to take them pretty far, and then he didn't
drive them into the ground.
He didn't drive them into the ground like the character on Ted Lasso was hoping.
Yeah.
Rebecca Welton, who's played by Hannah Waddingham.
I mean, I think we have to be really careful here because I think that it's not a show that everybody has seen yet. It's not a show. It's not a show everybody's seen. It's only coming to the end of its second season, and there's a third season on the way apparently, and that might be it. So if you haven't seen it, we'll try and not spoil it. We'll just give you a general idea. But, you're thinking, it's going to be a sports thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just kind of okay, well, I'll give it a chance. If it's too, all sporty or whatever, I'll just, that's it. Because I'm not very into sports. I mean, we've just kind of, been following the Euros a little bit, but that's just for casual.
Right, yeah.
And... it's not really about the sports. It's more like a Friday Night Lights type vibe, where it's kind of
as if we know what that means.
Friday Night Lights.
I know what it means, but I have not seen Friday Night Lights.
Well, it's the same sort of thing, It's the sport. It plays.
It's about
sport,
relationships,
and team building and general good, warm-hearted humor.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. That's the same with anything, though, isn't it? You and I watched that Chicago Fire for a few years. That wasn't about the fires, was it? It's
no,
any of these hospital dramas, it's not really about the medical things that are going on. They're all about relationships.
They start focusing on the characters.
And Ted Lasso's the same.
Ted Lasso's the same, yeah. I mean, just to kind of go on a little tangent here about Chicago Fire. It was like the later seasons of London's Burning for me.
Yeah.
Because in the first seasons, it was all about the drama of the fires and the accidents and everything like that. And, the firefighters' personal lives took a back seat to it.
Yeah.
Then it slowly became, just into the fire. So how's things with the missus? You having a fight?
Oh, it was just another fire.
Yeah.
Same old.
Same old. But it's with Ted Lasso, the sport takes the back seat. I mean, there's the team and the players. He comes in and he, and he's hired to coach them.
I think they tie it together well.
They tie it together well.
I mean, so for people who are interested in soccer, I mean, the soccer is there.
The soccer is there.
It's not just about
they've got the culture, and they've got the English football culture down to a T.
Yeah.
Especially with the players on the team. Mm-hmm. They've got
so some of the characters.
Some of the characters are Roy Kent. He's I think he's the breakout star, actually.
Yeah.
Roy Kent, he's
and he won that actor won an award.
He won an award on the Emmys. Yeah. Brett Goldstein. And he was originally hired to be a writer, I think, on the show. And I think he writes.
Oh, yeah.
But he auditioned for the part of Roy Kent doing videos, and they were just we'll stick him in as part of the cast.
Yeah.
So the cast is Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm. You guys might remember him from Saturday Night
Live.
Yeah. I think he's married to Olivia Wilde also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't look him up there. Hannah Waddingham as Rebecca Welton, who's like the owner of the club. Yeah. Of AFC Richmond.
And you guys might know her from Sex Education.
Sex Education, and I think she might have been in Game of Thrones too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
Jeremy Swift as Leslie Higgins, her little PA, and he was like director of football operations at the club. You'd know him from Downton Abbey. He was... Who was he in Downton?
He was Lady Grantham's butler.
Lady Grantham's butler, who was constantly trying to get into the big house.
The Dowager Countess.
Yeah, the Dowager, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have the players, which you have Phil Dunster as Jamie Tart, who was kind of modelled after David Beckham and Jack Grealish and all the young players who are like, ooh, strikers. They score all the goals and all the girls love them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're fit and, you know.
Yeah. Jamie Tart.
And they've got their own chants, and they've got aging midfielder Roy Kent, who's at the end of his career.
Yeah. In
season 1, you know, and he's kind of modelled on Roy Keane, who's another player.
And he's like a gruff, grumpy.
He's gruff, angry all the time, and he's swearing and everything. You know.
There's a lot of swearing because, you know.
It's a streaming show.
It's set in Britain.
It's set in Britain, yes. I mean, there's a lot of swearing. I think the only one who doesn't do any swearing is Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, no.
He's very much he's kind of against it.
So let's give them, if they have not seen the show, an idea of Ted Lasso's personality, or like what to expect with the show. Let's say.
Well, Rebecca, the character of Rebecca, asks him, "Do you believe in ghosts, Ted?" Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Yes, I do, but what's more importantly, I think they should believe in themselves." You know, it's kind of like, he's one of those people who starts in my sister, you know, stories that people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Folksy anecdotes.
People that he knows.
People that he knows. And it's all kind of trying to relate it to, like, humor and, oh, yeah, you're having a tough break, are you? Well, let's get you out of that, you know.
Teach a lesson.
Trying to make the British people smile because they've all got problems and they're all angry and they're all just like, oh. Yes. And that's a plot point, actually. I was almost going to think, but he's giving biscuits to Rebecca and she loves them, and, you know, it's just
he's like a stereotypical country boy.
He's a good old boy, yeah. He's the country boy type thing.
But a modern one. So he's not racist, and
he's not dumb either.
No, he's not dumb.
Yeah, because, I mean, these were based on short sketches that they did when NBC Sports wanted to promote the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
Over here back in 2013.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And he came on, and vaguely I remember him coming on, and he was Coach Ted Lasso, and he was played by Jason Sudeikis again, and he was doing press conferences, and he was like, he'd come to London to manage the Tottenham Hotspurs, you know, and they're called Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
And he had no idea about the game, and he was dumb, and he didn't know where Wales was, and he didn't know what the offside rule was, and, you know, all the basic rules of football. And it was just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, they were just trying to like, oh yeah, this is how most Americans think about soccer.
Yeah.
So this is a good way to, like, you know, introduce it. So him and Bill Lawrence, and who created Scrubs, and a couple of other people developed the idea and made it into Ted Lasso and refined the character. So, you know, now it's all this. It's season 1, aired last year, and season 2 is currently airing.
Yeah.
On Apple TV Plus, and it's exclusive to that.
Oh, okay. Let me have a little rant now about Apple TV.
Gonna have a rant about Apple TV because we watched another show on there too, didn't we?
If you guys have not, if you don't have Apple TV Plus, and if you have not done a free trial of it, I would recommend, if you want to see Ted Lasso, to just go ahead and probably wait until this series is finished, which I think it's got a few more weeks, probably.
Yeah, it's got a few more weeks. Sorry, I'm just over here. I'm over here. You're getting behind the scenes thing.
Sorry, I'm just over here.
I'm just over here, but I'm back now.
We did a free trial of Apple Plus so that we could watch Ted Lasso, basically. And personally, and we will never be sponsored by Apple Plus.
Never in a billion years.
Apple TV Plus, is that what it's called?
And unless someone at Apple is listening to this and is in their marketing department and wants to give us a sponsorship,
no,
hello.
No. We will never be sponsored by them because of what I'm about to say.
Well, don't say it then.
Listen, our listeners want the truth, okay? The truth
We're all about the truth on this channel. I was just over there, now I'm over here.
The truth is, it's not worth having, I don't think.
It might be. I'm gonna play devil's avocado here and say it might be devil's avocado. It might be worth it because I think there's a couple of like good. They're starting to have good shows. Ted Lasso is good. The Morning Show is pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as Ted Lasso.
You didn't like it. I liked it.
Yeah, you liked it, but it's just kind of like. If you've never seen The Morning Show, Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell,
Reese
Witherspoon.
Yeah, it's basically about the Today Show.
It's basically about the Matt Lauer scandal. So,
those are literally the only two things worth watching on there, in my opinion, because they don't seem to, and they've been going a while, so I really don't understand it. They don't seem to have that much original programming, and when you get a subscription with Apple Plus TV, is it Apple Plus TV?
Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus.
Everything is plus because it's plus everything else now.
Oh, right.
You know, you've got Disney Plus started with that. Now you've got Paramount Plus.
Yeah. So
Discovery Plus.
When you get a subscription with them, the subscription is paying for the Apple original content.
Yeah.
And there is not a whole lot to choose from.
As of now.
Yeah, but they've been going a while, so there should be more original content.
There should be, but I guess they're kind of like dragging their feet on it.
The plus part of Apple TV is that they have all kinds of other shows and movies,
content, yeah.
But you have to pay extra for those. You pay extra for those.
Yeah, you rent them for like $3.99 or you can buy them for $14.99.
Yeah, you have to rent or buy. I don't know if you can buy them, but you
can buy them.
Oh, can you? Okay. But it's basically just like, you know, renting or buying a DVD or whatever. It's just like, why am I still have, you know, I'm paying a subscription.
Why am I still having to pay for things in the 21st century?
I mean, you don't get a subscription to like Netflix or Disney Plus Disney Plus is not a good example because they are still charging for new things, new content that is coming out. But anyway.
I don't, you know, at the risk of sounding very capitalist, I understand why they do it. The new stuff. You know, you pay for a subscription to Disney Plus, you get access to their entire library.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes they take things off.
Yeah.
Because they've got a deal running with Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever to show it on there.
But on Disney Plus, you're just paying for it. This has become a completely different podcast, but
we're talking about streaming services here.
On Disney Plus, you pay
You're getting
for
the full tangent.
You pay for the movies that are in the theater. I get it, you know.
I mean, I'm not going to be paying $30 to watch Cinderella though, or whatever it was.
Well, no, but it's not Cinderella. It'll be like the new Disney movie that's just come out. Yeah. You know, the Cruella. That Cruella film that just came out.
Cruella.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, who played Cruella?
I don't know.
Someone played Cruella.
$30, it sounds really steep, but then you think, okay, well, if it was me, Dad, and our two kids, you know, that were going, we'd pay $40 or more, you know.
And then $20 on top of that with popcorn and drinks and everything.
Yeah. So $30. Snacks. You know, I think it's sort of reasonable, unless, you know, you're sitting at home and we've got a tiny television in our bedroom.
We've got a very tiny television.
To pay $30, we're hardly in the movie theater,
like 5 by 5.
Watching our little bedroom television, you know.
Yeah. You need like one of our favorite YouTubers, James and Claire Buckley. They just recently got a massive TV for their bedroom. You know, we need one of them now.
We can bring the
it was too big.
We can bring the television from the living room into our bedroom. Anyway. So I get it on Disney Plus. On Apple Plus, though, the subscription pays for the original content, but if you want to rent, say, Napoleon Dynamite, which is, 20 years old.
Yeah.
$3.99
you
gotta pay extra. It's like, why do I want to pay extra?
I mean, we've got Roku, and it's
they've got a lot of free content.
Yeah, the Roku channel has like a lot of like old stuff like Father Knows Best and Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and stuff like that, and it's all kind of free with adverts, you know.
That being said, Ted Lasso is totally worth...
Bringing it back to Ted Lasso.
That being said,
Just in time to wrap this up, actually.
Ted Lasso is totally worth having a subscription to Apple TV Plus for as long as it takes to get through the series.
Yes.
I wouldn't have a subscription to Apple TV Plus just all the time at all. No. But Ted Lasso is definitely worth seeing, and I would recommend doing the free trial and then getting, a month's subscription next year or whatever, whenever the third season comes out.
We're just going to do a little subscription to Netflix now to watch the new season of...
Sex Education?
Sex Education, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's probably other content on there that we want to watch too. Probably the next season of The Crown.
Yeah, soon, probably.
Soon, yeah.
Anyway... You guys should definitely check out Ted Lasso. It's the sweetest show.
It's very sweet. It's syrupy sweet. If you're not into that kind of thing,
syrupy sweet with the F word every other word.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's syrupy sweet. It's folksy. It's like down home. And in the second season, it's kind of like taking a few twists and turns along the way.
Yeah.
That leave you kind of like maybe not so syrupy sweet, maybe not so, down home and folksy.
Let's give you a little bit more of
And it's like people just kind of judge it. And it's like, oh, well, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like how happy he is all the time and how amazing and da-da-da.
What I think is really cute, though, is that all these grumpy, stuck-up British people, they're just so ready to write him off and make fun of him.
Oh, they're so ready because he doesn't know
he's got the country accent.
Yeah.
And he's too nice. And he doesn't know things about Britain. And he doesn't like tea.
Oh, no, that's the only thing he will not budge on is the tea. So there you go.
But they just can't not like him. It's
just he's okay.
Yeah, it's like he's just too good of a guy. He's just one of those people that you just can't not like.
There's a classic episode in season 2.
He will force you to like him,
Yeah. If you're a fan of romantic comedies and have seen them all, you'll appreciate one particular episode in season 2 that focuses mainly on Roy Kent. Mm-hmm. So, and it has a lot of references to old romantic comedies in it. So
it's a fun episode.
It's a fun episode, yeah.
Another great thing about this show is that the cast is super diverse without being in your face about it.
There's a lot of the recurring cast who play the players, because as you'll get to find out, because people probably think that soccer in England is played by a bunch of white guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that might have been true back in when it started. Mm-hmm. And up until maybe the 1950s.
Yeah.
But then once soccer became a sport with money, it was English players, they got traded out of there.
Yeah.
And it's people were coming from Mexico, from Spain, from Nigeria. It's
France.
A very diverse team. Mm-hmm. France, Italy, all these nations, they were coming to play for a club,
And you just love how they're, they just all love
football
each other.
Is life.
Yeah, football is life.
Football is live. Yes.
Yeah.
Once you watch, you'll know who that is. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so, we really can't say enough positive things about it. And, there's a reason why it won all the Emmys. Sometimes, we don't necessarily agree with everybody who wins these awards all the time.
Yeah, sometimes we're just like, oh, that one.
It's like, it was a bit
So, we write an angry letter, we get Ofcom involved, we get the Emmys taken off the air because we're that powerful.
But we're kind of telling everybody we know about it, so we decided to include you guys because we know all of you.
Because we know all of you personally. We come to your house every day for tea.
And we want to spread the word about Ted Lasso.
Spread the word, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
I think we've ranted at you enough about streaming services and Ted Lasso.
And Chicago Fire.
Chicago Fire got in there somehow.
I swear.
That was a bit weird, wasn't it?
I swear, you guys. But, I mean, unless you're new here, you know what to expect when you tune into this podcast. You know us by now. And if you don't know us, you will. Yeah, if you don't know us, be sure to check us out on social media. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. We really, 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 really appreciate your support, and we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next time.
Football is live!